You've stopped into another episode of Dad Crossing where myself, Nick, and my co host Sean will have real, honest chats about the highs and lows of dad life. We'll laugh together at the craziness of parenting and the silliness of our kiddos, and we'll support each other through the challenges and tough decisions of fatherhood. Whether you're a seasoned granddad or a dad to be, we promise laughs, relatable, and sometimes raw talk, and expert help to tackle the tough issues. Not from Sean and me, but from the amazing guests we'll have on the show. So let's be dads crossing through life together. Welcome to Dad Crossing, where we are going to talk. This is your dad life episode, and we're going to be talking about cell phone usage with kids. When do you get them one? What for? What do you let them use it for? What do you let them download with it? How do you lock it up? Lots of questions.
There is. I was going to say there is a lot to that sentiment there of how do you let them use it, and
yeah, this is I think this is a huge topic today. Like, having a cell phone is one thing. What you let them put on the cell phone, well, that's a whole nother beast in and of itself.
and how you monitor it as well, because
Yeah.
that's the other thing is, I mean, we'll get into it as we start talking a bit more, but having a teen who we now don't monitor it anyway, probably not at all now, but we've had instances where we've had to kind of intervene with the eldest. We're now at that period of time with Emily, the middle one, who could or couldn't be doing things with the mobile phone that we're not happy with. And then there's Logan being the youngest who is asking for a mobile phone at 8 years old, and we're like, you don't need one. No, that is just So it's an interesting topic.
Yeah, and it's just like, and everybody's gonna have a different response, right? Like, I mean, Noah has cousins who have had phones since they were 8. They've been making TikTok videos since they were 10. I mean, so like, so yeah, I mean, and I think that's part of the reason why you get like you get Logan and others being like, hey, can I have a phone? Because their friends have a phone. They're like, yeah, we got a phone. We have one. So yeah, I mean, it's just, and I mean, I guess to kind of start this off, just as like a disclaimer, I'm going to tell you kind of what we do and why we do it, and maybe have more questions than answers. But I'm not telling you how to do your thing, and I'm not telling you the thing you did was wrong. You can do it how you wish. Parenting is not easy, and not two kids are the same, quite frankly, and probably should have the same exact access or non-access to cell phones.
Certain things.
So
yeah,
or other things.
It all falls on the situation as well. Like, as we start talking about this, the situation as to why we've allowed them to have the phone at the age they've had phones is because they were becoming more independent in terms of walking to and from school on their own. So it was a way of contacting us if there was an emergency for anything. But that was the leader into why they were having a phone in the first place. So
Yep. And that's why we're thinking about getting the phones for the kids, is so that when Ariel is at soccer practice or Noah is at rehearsal, that's how we got into this conversation before. It was like, man, I really want to get Noah a phone because the rehearsals he's part of now are not kid-based rehearsals. Like, they're kid-friendly, but what I mean by kid-based is there's not like a start time and an end time and somebody's checking you in and checking you out. No, you can do whatever you want. You can go wherever you want. You can be done. And Noah's fine. Trust him pretty well. I mean, he makes wise decisions, but still, just in case something went awry or something, everybody left an hour early because rehearsal just had to end. Then Noah would at least have somebody to a way to call us and tell us, hey, come and pick me up. I'm done early, way early.
Which is a sensible use of having a phone, but then it's how you monitor and control what's on there is what leads next. Because I know kids have tablets and stuff like that, but we monitor very carefully what Logan's doing on his tablet and what who he communicates with, if he communicates with anybody, and what kind of stuff he's taking pictures and videos of. I mean, we go through his videos a lot to delete things because I keep getting the email notification telling me that his storage is almost full. And when we go through and look at it, there's just like hour-long videos of him playing Minecraft with his friend, where he's propped his iPad up and he's recording them as if they're making a YouTube video, which is cute and funny. And we scroll through to make sure they're not using any bad language while we're not kind of supervising them. Which there hasn't been. It's just been him and his friend playing Minecraft and making funny
Mm,
videos, basically copying what they see on YouTube. So
yeah, yeah. Um, So yeah, then the other part becomes so like the kids have a game, what we call is a game phone. It's a non-cellular based, so it doesn't really help with our current predicament or our current. That's why we wouldn't actually even get them a phone. We'd probably just add a cell plan to this phone. Is what we do because it's I think an iPhone 11 or something. It works fine. Um, it was my old phone before I got the 15. And so we just get a cell plan on that. But then, yeah, it's like, well, what do you when you get the cell plan? Like, we have it locked down pretty well right now. And I'll say Apple. I don't know anything about Google. I don't know. I don't know. I know, Sean, you're Apple, but I don't know if you know about Google stuff. I don't know a ton. Um,
I know Huawei and the Android aspect a little bit, but not a lot.
okay. Um, uh, And so I think Apple has done a pretty good job. Like my kids can text anybody that's on their contacts list, and they've locked down. I'm able to lock down the contacts list so they can't just add somebody, and so they can text grandma and they can text all the grandmas and they can text us and some of their friends like the Stanton kids and stuff like that. So overall, I mean, I think they've done pretty good. We haven't had many instances. The only instance we had and it wasn't super inappropriate, but they had like Ariel had videoed Noah knowingly doing a silly dance. Okay, he wasn't inappropriately dressed, but you and I were just talking. Noah just walks around in shorts basically a lot of times at the house. And so he was goofing off dancing and she sent that video to some friends of both of theirs as kind of a joke, but didn't ask Noah's permission. So that's when the extent of that deal. And to be fair, that was a little on, I felt like that was a little on us. She didn't get in trouble a lot of like, oh, I guess we probably should have had more of a conversation of like, hey, yeah, you're on a shared device, but like if you have a if there's a picture and it's not of you, even if it's not inappropriate, then you need to ask before you are like just sending it to people. So
Yeah, and it's a conversation to have in terms of we know that you seeing Noah in like just shorts with no t-shirt on kind of thing is a norm because that's how he is in the house. But
yeah,
you are siblings, and that's a well, it's appropriate to an age, which is like what we talked about in the Monday episode, where we're having to move people around in bedrooms because it's now becoming appropriate for Emily and Logan to share because of ages. There becomes like an element of, we know that's the norm for you at the moment, but that isn't normal for people outside the household to see
yeah,
as well.
yeah. And I mean,
That
even
makes
it
sense.
like it's his right to like I mean, there's nothing wrong to see a boy, and because I mean, it's very appropriate shorts. It'd be no different than like like a swimming pool or something,
Yeah,
right? So I mean, there wasn't anything inappropriate about it in that sense, but it's like that's not your right to show pictures of somebody like that when you
yeah.
didn't, especially goofy dancing pictures. Um, so brother was not very happy, and at first, actually, I yelled at Noah. To be honest, I was like, Noah, Daniel, why would you send your picture of this? And he was like, and then I saw the mortified look on his face when he realized that it had been sent, and I was like, oh, it wasn't you, was it?
Oh no. Well, what's interesting is that you got to see the modified look in terms of now, if you were to ever pull him up on anything at a later date, you'd know that if he had that same look, you could like
Yeah.
pretty much nail on that it's not his fault. It's and he's not the one to blame. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
which is always good.
Yeah. Um so there's like there's making sure that they understand just phone etiquette, I guess, you know? Phone etiquette in every
Yeah.
way, like how you text and don't text, when you text and don't text. My son, like me, likes answers quickly. Okay. And so there are times when he'll ask a friend, like, hey, do you want to play this game? And like 5 minutes will go by and he's like, I'm gonna see if they're there. I'm gonna text again. I'm like, no, no, you don't need to text again. You've texted once. They're if they see the phone, they will text you back. Like you don't need to just like don't bomb their phone with text. So there's stuff like
Yeah.
that.
That's that's a conversation we have with Logan on the regular in with his iPad. Now he's learned he can FaceTime or text at any time as much as he likes. There isn't a limit on it. Um he had his friend round there wanting to play Goat Simulator, and I'm sat at work having a conversation with my shift charge. So it's not the time where I can just answer a FaceTime to talk to him about how to set up Goat Simulator.
Mm,
And like it's pinging through to my watch, and I'm like, as long as FaceTiming me, it's as if it was really important, there's an emergency, it would usually be Lindsay or Emily because
sure,
she
yeah.
was here at the time.
Hmm.
So like ignored it. 30 seconds later, again, ignored it. 30 seconds later, ignored it. And then he left a video note on FaceTime, which you can do now with FaceTime,
Yeah, yeah.
of him at like, "How do you set up Goat Simulator, Dad? Me and Ivor are trying to play Goat Simulator and we can't." I'm like, "This is really not." And my shift charge was understanding. He was like, "Why? What's going on?" I said, "Oh, it's my boy. He's got his friend around. He wants to set up a game and stuff like that." He was like, "Well, what we're talking about is not super important. We can
No,
like
that's really
continue
cool.
this
Good
later."
on him.
I was like, "No, he needs to learn that this, you can't just bombard somebody with messages and texts and
Yeah,
and phone calls." So
yeah, totally.
yeah, because he's the same. He's like, it needs to happen now. This is
Hmm.
like to him, it was super important, but it's
Yeah,
in the grand scheme of things, it's not. So
yeah, yeah, totally. And then there's the apps part, right? So there's like the etiquette of how you use the phone, which is like 10% of what a phone is these days. And then there's like all the apps. What do you let them have? How do you limit their use? And I mean, to be fair, like if you do an Apple sharing with Apple, it's pretty easy
yeah,
to see what they're doing, at least like what they're downloading, um, and what they're looking at. I don't know if looking at's
yeah. I
the right
think
word,
I
but
actually had a Facebook conversation with a complete stranger
oh,
like a week ago about this. Um, my cousin Ryan put a post up about asking for anybody that's got like a way of um, tracking and monitoring the whereabouts of a kid's phone with an app because the apps he was using was absolutely useless. And I just commented and saying I can't speak for anything other than Apple, but Apple have a really good system called Find My, which
mhm,
used to be called Find My Friends,
mhm,
but that's now just been limited to Find My because it's all different devices. But if you're doing a family share plan, you can and everybody's devices to everything. So like Emily's watch, Jaya's phone, um, Jaya's AirPods, Lindsay's AirPods, Lindsay's watch, my phone, my work phone, Logan's iPad, everything, every Apple device we own, like laptops, iPads, everything, are all linked in this Find My because they all sit under
mhm,
the family umbrella. And it's just there. It's pre-built. You don't have there's nothing you have to set up. There's nothing you have to pay for. It just as long as they've got some form of cellular service or Wi-Fi service in terms of like Logan's iPad, um, you can find exactly where they are, and it's pretty accurate as to where they are.
mhm,
And I just said to him, said, Apple have got this pretty good in. And my comment was like, Apple have got this really good inbuilt thing. And this just random guy commented back and saying, like, is this something that takes a lot to set up? Blah, blah, blah. Like we had a couple of back and forth conversations regards, you know, it's just make sure you've got it. you've got maybe you are the family account main holder and everybody sits underneath you and stuff like that and add them to it. And all the devices will automatically just come across. And it's a great way of monitoring things. We use it for, because Jay is away at university, we use it for when we know she's working late because she works in a cocktail bar, ensuring that she's home safe because
Mm-hmm.
she won't text, but I have that inbuilt dad radar where
Mm-hmm.
if I know she's working late and it's like 2 a.m. in the morning, I will just wake up and be like, I'm going to check and see if Jay's back. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
check and see where she is, and she's always back at her accommodation, uh, because nothing's gone wrong. I'm tapping my head for touching wood.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Appreciate that.
but it's just you have this inbuilt thing, so and it's a great way of checking. And I don't know. Well, I do know because when Emily had a Huawei phone, I'm probably not saying that right, but when she had one of those, she wasn't in that, so we couldn't see where she was, kind of thing. Which
Okay.
they have their independence and their free will, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, you have this inbuilt need to know where your kids are and safety and so on and
Mm-hmm.
so forth. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I think she broke the screen on that phone. So we took the opportunity to be like, hey, let's get a, mum bought you that phone last time because we co-parent quite well. So we'll get you a phone this time, and here you go. Here's this handset. Your mum's going to continue to pay for the airtime we've paid for the handset.
Nice.
We just
Yeah.
play it that way. So now she falls under that plan, so we can kind of keep an eye on what she's doing. And like you said, the app side of things where they have to request an app,
Mm-hmm.
which is a great thing to set up as well. So it's in the parental controls where you can like tick what age they're allowed to view in apps, what age they're allowed to view in terms of websites, but also age in terms of app downloading. And you can set everything to ask. So if Emily sees an app that she likes on the App Store, she presses get, and I think it tells her that she has to ask permission. And it'll ping me and Lindsay, and like we'll get this thing and we can look at it and like look at the content in the app. And sometimes we'll deny and we'll text her with a follow up and say, no, we don't we don't trust that that's an okay app to have. Just looking at it and looking at the reviews, and there's parent websites. I mean, you've done a really good job of linking for games and stuff in terms of like, are they okay for kids on
Mm-hmm.
our website?
Yeah.
There is websites out there for apps and stuff like that where it tells you, if there's any kind of weird background to these kind of things and what to avoid. So we will look at those and we will look at the reviews on those and make a decision. And we'll be honest and forthcoming with them all. We've done it with them all. We've declined the request for this because we don't think it's appropriate, or it's a bit too old for you, or the reviews aren't great in terms of like safeguarding for you. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's an interesting, like I was saying in the on Monday's episode that last Friday we had the Nerf war thing. And the kids came, and there was a bunch of kids that came to our church. And I'm tasked with the 4th to 5th grade group, okay? And so I have this 4th grader that's like we're playing red light green light, and I have this 4th grader that's like over here with his phone like recording everything. He's not like it's not like Facebook Live in it, but he's just like recording it. And I'm like, buddy, I was like, why don't you put the phone down and like just like live in the moment instead of, well, I want to get a record for everything so that I can show my parents. I was like, or you could just tell them you played red light, green light, and had a lot of fun. I think probably they would probably appreciate you actually talking to them and not having to watch a 20-minute video of red light, green light. I'm just saying. I didn't say that part, but that's what I was thinking in my head. And so it's like that's the part that I kind of I guess struggle with was just like, okay, just just enjoy the moment that you're in. Like you don't have to. Everything doesn't have to be. I mean, you work with the youth group, and it's like they're doing these like they're taking pictures, and they're like doing the thing, and it always just cracks me up, And I try not to say anything because
Yeah.
I sound old. And they're definitely of age to have a phone. Like they're all high schoolers and stuff like that. So it's not that, but it's just like that's the thing. That's the gig. And so
And I'm I'm the same when it comes to like I've been to live concerts for music and stuff like that, and everybody's got the phone in front of the face because they're
yeah,
recording what they can see,
uh-huh,
but they're watching what they're recording of this live performance
yeah.
through their phone, and I'm like, just do that
You could have just stayed
if you want
home. You could have watched this on
to.
YouTube if that's what you wanted to do. You could have saved yourself so much money.
Yeah. So like, and I mean, I do the same because when I went and watch Blink live, as it is like the original Blink for me, that was like a bucket list kind of thing. I wanted to see Mark,
Mm-hmm.
Tom, and Travis perform live. I took videos, but they were like 20-second videos of something, and then like the phone
Mm-hmm.
went down, and I was just hyper
Yeah,
focused on. Um, but I could see there was like you said, there was people like I said, sorry, there was people there with the phones in front of them. They would just spend the entire time, and I'm
yeah,
like, live for the moment.
yeah.
Like it's great to have a memory. I understand that, like, take a 10-15 second video because that triggers the memory. And
Yep.
but kids nowadays don't live through that. They watch 20-30 minute videos of people recording like their day-to-day activities of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
TikTok is just that constant bombardment of doom scrolling of people like narrating their day-to-day life. Like
Yeah.
even to the point where people have made up parody accounts where they're doing like pretend videos of somebody that wakes up as a Discord mod, and they're taking the absolute biscuit of what these kind of people are like, and it's crazy. It's difficult, and mobile phones, and in terms of the content they're seeing, and then how they use it and stuff like that, is just a minefield,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a hard minefield to navigate as a parent.
Yeah,
So
yeah, because I mean, then social media becomes the other topic, right? Of like, okay, you have a phone. We've talked about the safety things. You can see where they are. They can let you know they need help. They can let you know that that like practice ended early, rehearsal ended early. Whatever. All those things are like all the things that make a lot of sense. Also, if you have AirTags, that's also why the Find My People app became Find My, because AirTags are under the Find My now too. So,
yeah,
um,
we don't have AirTags yet. Haven't
okay.
invested in that. So
Um, and so like all those things, and then it's just like, and then I think for me, the social media piece is probably the biggest of like, I don't know. So isn't it 12? I was trying to think this. Is it 12 that you can get on Facebook? Or is it 13?
Facebook's 13,
Okay.
Discord is 14, and then I'm not sure about the rest. That's mainly because I haven't had to set anything else up for anyone that's not been at age to lie about their age. So
So
I
you
set up a Discord for Logan.
so
I
you
set
may
up
have
a
lied
Discord for
about
Logan.
Logan's age.
I may have bent the truth a little bit, but then I
I'm
have gone
just
in and
kidding.
monitored
Yeah,
and
yeah,
monitor
yeah, yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So, but only because Granddad built him an awesome PC,
Mhm.
and we wanted to game together, and he had no way. And like I've limited the party chat option for Fortnite, and trying to navigate Epic's website is a pain in the absolute rear end. So I thought if I set him up a Discord account, if my dad's kind of online at the same time as Logan, and he wants to drop in and chat to Logan that way, it's an open stream of communication for those two, which I absolutely like encourage.
Sure.
Um, he can do that, and also me and Logan can chat through Discord through the Xbox app. So we can do it that way rather than having to use the party shop option, and I have to kind of turn on crossplay and cross chat and so on and so forth. It's just a really easy way of doing it. But he literally has me and his granddad as a friend on there.
Yeah. And so with this thing, you can like he can't add a Discord server or add a
No,
person or anything like that. Or like
no,
yeah.
and at 8 years old, he wouldn't know how to either. I mean, the
Well,
kid doesn't even know
come
how
on,
to.
Sean. You're gonna tell me that if
No,
if the brakes were off, if the guardrails were gone, and you said, Logan, figure out how to invite somebody. You're gonna tell me that Logan could not figure out how to invite somebody? I don't think that's
he
true. I'm
probably
gonna be honest.
he he probably could, but it doesn't cross his mind to do it because he
That's fair.
doesn't see it for that. at the
That's
moment. It's a different story because I sat there and I thought, well, I've got one set up for Logan, so why don't I like set one up for Emily, who is pretty much 14?
yeah.
Like I'd only have to wait till April this year and she'd be 14. And then I sat there and I thought to myself, no, because she's gonna use social media completely different to Logan. And I class Discord sits in this on the social media umbrella for me. Um, she's gonna use it completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've limited, so she can't have Snapchat, she doesn't have Facebook, which is something that's probably going to come under review in the next year or so, I think.
Mm-hmm. So
But she
does she
doesn't
have
have
any
ele-
social media? I was going to ask this
not
question.
other. She has WhatsApp,
WhatsApp.
which
Okay.
again I class that as a social media platform. But she has that because she's got family on her mum's side that
Okay. Yeah.
an iPhone, so they don't have the iMessage ability. So
Sure.
contacts like
Okay.
she contacts a grumpy, as she calls him, from
Okay.
her mum's side through WhatsApp. But that's the only one she has. The only reason why we've limited it is because we've had issues in the past at that age where there has been foul play in terms of bullying and harassment through things like Snapchat
Mm-hmm.
because it's a disappearing messaging service,
Yeah.
which is a red flag straight away
Yeah. Who needs
because you
that?
can't.
Like
I
who
know
what is the purpose of this? Like
exactly, and we had an issue with Jaya when she was around Emily's age, when she was well, no, younger, because she we this is where we learn. So Jaya, obviously, your first is always the guinea pig,
mm-hmm.
and we gave Jaya access to Snapchat at a younger age and stuff like that. And when kids use mobile phones completely different to us, so this leads into the story. Um, Becca probably sees this with school. Lindsay sees it. Lindsay can confiscate a phone from a student at our school, and that phone will not stop buzzing.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking like 50 to 60 notifications
Crazy.
through WhatsApp, Snapchat, and yeah, it's crazy. I'd be lucky if I got 30 notifications for the day, and that's even like
Mm-hmm.
pings from pretty emails trying to sell me stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But when we first allowed Jaya into the um, Snapchat and WhatsApp world, and other kids were doing it, she'd be invited to so many different group chats. It was crazy. So like there'd be a girls only group chat, and then there'd be like a certain group chat for ring pull collections because for whatever reason there was a wave of them collecting ring pulls from cans to make jewelry and stuff.
Okay.
But at one point, there was stuff happening in a group chat where somebody was not being very nice towards one other person. But then behind that, there was one-to-one chats happening where this person was telling Jaya to say certain things to this person in the group. So it then turned into like digital bullying and harassment. And we didn't know about it until somebody brought one of the parents contacted us and brought it up. And we were like absolutely devastated that this was happening. We had to have a full blown conversation about how that was inappropriate, that she was being led to do this and she should have flagged it up or stopped it or not been involved. But children can be naive and be led on, and they just want to kind of fit into a circle, so they go along with the
Mm-hmm.
crowd. Um, so we learned that at a younger age that social media and mobile phones, it was just an absolute minefield. And to have that many notifications going off on a constant, regular basis,
Yeah.
it's not healthy. It's
No.
they like I don't know how about you, but I was bullied a lot at school. But the safe haven was that when I got home at the end of the day, that stopped because they
Yep.
couldn't get to me. There was no digital way. There was no like they didn't know my house number, which was the only way of getting in touch with me. And if that was going to happen through the house phone, my parents were going to be able to hear it anyway. So like the bullying kind of stopped at the school gates and started again the next day, which still wasn't pleasant, but there was no
It was manageable.
harassment happening. Yeah, it was manageable. You
Hmm.
could tell a teacher, you could speak to a counselor, you could do kind of things in school which kind of helped, and you could stay away from those people. But when it follows you home and you're involved in group chats, every time that phone pings, you're going to have the same angst and anxiety behind what's this person saying, what's that person saying, that you have it is if it's in person to person, peer to peer. So that's for me is where social media for young adults is, or for even kids, is just ridiculous because it follows them home. So they
Hmm.
don't get that safe haven. So home doesn't become a safe place, which is why I disagree with even with Facebook at 13 being a thing.
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous. I think for me, social media 16 plus, and I think
Yeah.
it's
I'm right
Australia
there.
that have kind of ruled that at the moment. I mean, they've put a rule that I think it might even be
Oh, really?
18. I can't remember if yeah, there's a country that's put a age limit to access to social media, like a hard limit in terms of even if a kid lies about their age and it becomes apparent that they're younger than that for the photos that they're sharing, they, like will be a hard ban block kind of deal.
Yeah, you're right. Yep. Australia just passed one of the world's strictest social media age laws, and here's how it works. Australia's new age law is 16 years of age.
Yeah,
Yeah, starting as
which I
of
think
December 10th of this year or last year.
which is a massive step for them because
Hmm.
they're basically turning around to the digital world and saying we are allowing it regardless of your policies. We disagree that they're right. And that's because they're going to see things like suicide rates, which is a horrible thing to talk about in young adults and
It's
teenagers.
huge over here.
Suicide rates are living, yeah,
Yeah.
it's massive because they don't have that safe haven, which is a completely different, deep, horrible topic to be going down when you're talking about trying to limit kids with mobile phone access.
Hmm.
But it's one of those things that happens is it's like you said, 10% of mobile phones now are used for communication for people for phone calls and text messages. Everything's all app based.
Hmm.
So it is a difficult thing to monitor and measure.
Yeah.
But it's one of the reasons why we limit it to when we have with the kids. So
Yeah. No, I think that's really smart. Yeah, not only is it the safe haven, but it's like if somebody bullied you at school, you got like 30 people, right? Maybe in a room or something like that, or in a hallway that are gonna hear it or see it or whatever. And the rest of it's just gonna have to be hearsay, and that's gonna be muted effect. It's not gonna be fun, but it's gonna be muted. But like in social media, man, if somebody says something, the entire school and the surrounding schools might see that thing if it goes viral. And it's just like
yeah,
it's
well
just yeah.
that's it. One person sends one picture to one person. That person then can send it to 5 people. Those 5 people can send it to another 5 people.
Yeah.
And it just grows exponentially by within an
Hmm.
hour, like the first image could have reached 100 people.
Yeah.
And it's scary. And I mean, I've seen stuff online about kids that have shared inappropriate content of themselves thinking it was a safe thing to do,
Yeah.
which it's illegal for a
Hmm.
start, so just don't do it. But equally, it's not morally correct. But those people at the other end, you don't know what they're doing with that.
Hmm.
Even with apps like Snapchat and those other like instant deleted messages, there is a fair few on the market. There's nothing stopping somebody from taking a screenshot
Yeah.
or a screen recording. It does alert you to that, but it's not stopped. It's then you've got no control of what the other person at the other end's doing with it. So, and
Yeah.
like I said, children don't think of it. I mean, I know the thing with Ariel and Noah's goofy dance in his shorts is really innocent, but that is a prime example of how children don't see the inappropriate activity in something, and it can snowball out of hand. That was a very small example for
Yeah.
you on that side of things,
Hmm.
but it could have been completely different. That
Yeah.
could have been something that just went and exploded into many different directions.
Yeah. And they don't see it, and they're not even like with Ariel. is a great example. Like, so they were both in the room, like like Noah was mortified, and so then I looked at Ariel, who was sitting on the couch, and I was like, "Did you send this?" And she was like, "Yeah." And then I was like, "Do you have any idea what you just did?" And then she just like, I think like it flooded her of like, uh, I do now. Like I didn't
Uh-oh.
at the time. Like it wasn't like she was like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and I know it's not right, and
Yeah,
I'm just gonna
there
send it.
was no
Yeah,
malice behind
yeah,
it.
yeah. And so like, and Ariel has a specific way that she cries and feels when she's like legitimately like she feels awful for whatever has happened, and that was like where she was at. And so yeah, and it's like, but you do those things and you can't come back from it, and that's like you said, that's a little thing. But some of the bigger things, sending pictures of yourself without any clothes on or anything like that, and then they don't feel like there's any way to come back from it, and that's when suicide rates go up, and it's
Yeah, and
just awful.
and I mean this. I you couldn't start this episode when we're talking about mobile phones, unfortunately, in this day and age, leading to that topic.
Mm-hmm.
But as parents, you're trying to guard. You think about trying to guard children from predators outside the home, but you have this piece of mobile technology in your hand, which can be as evil as any predator or outside the house
Mm-hmm.
in terms of, they've got instant access to Google. They can automatically turn off safe search and see stuff that's massively inappropriate.
Mm-hmm.
X, which was formerly Twitter, is another example of how you can very quickly turn off a safe search in X, and you can see execution videos of people being shot, and the amount of stuff on there that is just ridiculous.
Yep.
Um, YouTube do a really good job of controlling that. I will give them that they have a very good control over certain things. Things do slip through the net. There's animated shorts that slip through the net in terms of being inappropriate for kids, but they do have a very good net around what they're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, TikTok's bad for it in terms of you can soon end up down a rabbit hole in TikTok, and you can be seeing stuff that's suggestively inappropriate. They
Mm-hmm.
they do ban things like nudity and violence and violent words. They're pretty good at picking those up, but they're suggested. People are getting around it by um, saying one word which is closely linked to the action of another word, and stuff like that. And the only reason why I know a lot about this is that, like, I can be scrolling through my personal TikTok and be like, even through our dad crossing TikTok, I can be scrolling through it, and then all of a sudden I'm just like seeing something that's quite suggestive, and I'm like, I barely use this account to look at stuff. I might log into our dad crossing one and then completely forget that I've switched the accounts and be scrolling through sometimes, and I'd be like, why am I seeing this? Like, I it's based on my age, based on us being male, and it's,
Mm-hmm.
based on the content we've watched or interacted with. But I don't interact with anything that's inappropriate for our channel because when it's not appropriate for our channel. So why am I seeing this? It's basically the algorithm is looking at my age and my gender. So if you have a 10-year-old that's you've signed up to TikTok and you thought, well, I'll just get around the age verification thing and give them an age that puts them at 16 years old so they can have TikTok and safely scroll through things, they're potentially going to see stuff that 18 to 21-year-olds should be seeing because the algorithm is a bit loose.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think that, and then, I mean, yeah, you're right. You weren't going to get around the social media topic on the cell phone topic because they're just that linked. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think if we could all, if you can lock down your phone, or I was going to say if you could go back to like my old school LG phone, which you could flip open, which was my first phone, Sean. Um, I got it when I went to college because my mom wouldn't let me have a phone in high school because she was for sure that I was going to get brain cancer if I had a cell phone. So, so far so good. Hopefully that
See,
all works out for me here.
Our
Um,
parents had completely different worries at the time.
yeah, totally did. There was no worry about Facebook because it didn't exist. The worry was if you have that phone too close to your head, the waves will cause you to have brain cancer.
Microwave the brain.
That's right. So I got it in college, and so really, you had mentioned I don't remember. It had a game. I don't think it was Snake though, but I can't remember what it was. It had a game I could play on
Oh.
it. Sure did. I want to say
See,
it might be what was the with the numbers? It was like a
solitaire, not
no,
solitaire, Sudoku.
no, and the
Oh,
bombs. And you had to try to figure out where the bombs
oh,
were.
Minesweeper.
Minesweeper. I think it was Minesweeper. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what was on there if I remember correctly. Anyways,
Oh.
so that
See,
was my game.
my first phone was a Sagem,
What?
which I
This is
don't
a
know if you
UK thing. I've never heard
Sagem,
of this.
Sagem,
No, don't never heard of this.
and all it had was a single, like a calculator screen, basically,
Okay.
and all you could do was text and phone call, and even then, a text was limited to 50 characters. So you had to
Yeah,
learn this
yeah, I
really,
forgot about that. Mhm.
you had to learn the text language. So
Mhm.
like shorthanding every
Yep.
word possible.
Yep. Yeah, that's funny. I did
Yeah.
forget that there was a text limit in the beginning. The one thing I will
Yeah.
say about my LG, that thing you could have put that thing in the microwave and turned it on, and I'm pretty sure you pull it out and it would be just fine. Like that, I
Yeah.
mean, that phone was indestructible. I had seen it fly out of my pocket, out of the car window. It had been on the car hood once. I don't even think it had scratches, Sean. I mean, that thing was just like that thing was impressive.
The Nokia 3310. That was my so the Sega was my first one. I had the Nokia 5110 after that. That was the first one with Snake on, which had like um polyphonic ringtones.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had to press the buttons to get the different notes, and you could go online and it'd tell you like which numbers to press to get the polyphonic
I
ringtones.
love it.
And then I went to the 3310, and I had several 5110s because working in a power station, phones fall out of pockets and get destroyed all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I only ever had one 3310, and it had I kid you not, I reckon it had fallen at least 100 feet. Picked it up, put the case back on. That thing worked a treat. Never missed a beat. I could probably
That
find
thing
it
was
now. It'd be in my mum and dad's loft. I could turn it on.
uh-huh.
It'd probably still be 50% charged.
Uh-huh. I mean, I don't know if it would still work, but I definitely the kids have my old LG. I see it float around every once in a while. It still exists, so good for them. But yeah, I mean, so if it
Yeah.
was that kind of a phone, then sure, I wouldn't mind Noah having a phone to 12, just keep the contact list short and let them only work off of the contact list and then there you go. I mean, but it'd be like nobody would clamor for a phone at 12 if that's all it could be, right? Like no, like you
I,
wouldn't have kids being like, "Dad, I just need a phone, just a phone." No, he wouldn't care. It's all the other things. That's what they really want.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Logan sees it. That there's kids on the estate where we live that have got smartphones, and he'll see it when he goes to the park that they're flicking through YouTube Shorts, and he sees it as there's like a mini iPad that I can have as I'm
Mm-hmm.
out. And we'll say to him that you'd like give me an example of when you're going to need a mobile phone. So, well, when I go around to Arthur's house, so Arthur lives. I can look out of my front window and see his house. So, like, that's how far away you are. And his parents have our numbers, and we're friends with them on Facebook, so they can just get in touch with us if anything happens or like they need to. Or you know, you can stick your slippers on as a parent. You know, everyone loves slippers or Crocs if you're a Crocs fan. Not me. And basically shuffle your way around and talk. It's as easy as that. And it only became different when the kids were walking to school. So that was when Jaya was walking. Jaya was different because she was like a couple of towns over when she was still in primary school, which was like up to the
Mm-hmm.
age of 13, which is why I should have a mobile phone sooner because we needed to be able to get in touch with her if because where Lindsay worked at the time and my shifts and stuff. and relying on other people to pick her up, we had to be able to communicate with her like, oh, we're running 10-15 minutes behind. Can you like tell your teacher and just hang around in the playground sort of thing? We'll be there soon. But with Emily, she was walking through town to get to school at like 11, 12 years old, which is when she got a phone. But that phone was tightly locked down, and we went into the terms of, reducing screen time because that was another thing we fell foul in is with Jaya that we were discovering that she was like sending messages on WhatsApp at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning at the age of 10 years old. So,
Mm-hmm.
we started then putting the restrictions on like all the apps would be blocked apart from being able to ring her direct parents, which is me and Lindsay, her dad and her stepmom, past a certain time in case anything happens. So we've always done the same with Emily. She has a downtime set for when she's at school that you know the phone will be basically rendered useless after 9 p.m. and won't be useful until 7 a.m. the next morning when she's usually up for school
Sure.
because the temptation and the inability to manage time well at that age, in my opinion, and I'm the same now as an adult. I'll play games until 3 o'clock in the morning, knowing full well I've got commitments the day after that's going to require me to have had a decent amount of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my own choice. As a young child and a parent, you're still kind of responsible for helping them manage that time.
For
But
sure.
we reduce that by putting things in place. And we'll tell them that. We're honest with it. Well, we're saying we've put these restrictions in place because would you be able to manage that yourself? And they would probably like they'd nod and be, oh yeah,
Yeah,
we can do.
definitely. Definitely
And we're like, okay, if you think you can manage it, then that's fine. But we'll give you don't get free strikes and you're out of this. This is like a one and done deal.
do.
If we
Mm-hmm.
find out that you're not, and Emily did the same. Emily was like up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning when she had school the next day, and she was still messaging in groups. And things like WhatsApp tell you when you were last online, so it's not like you can lie and say, "Oh no, I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't." And the other thing that the iPhone does, if you look at screen time, is tell you can see when they pick the phone up, when they responded to notifications. It's very clever. It's very hard to
Mm-hmm.
hide what
Yep.
you've been doing, the footprint the iPhone leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And we can show them that and be like, this technology doesn't lie. We can see that you picked the phone up at this time, and then you open this app for 2 minutes, and then you was on YouTube for 20 minutes, and then you was on TikTok for 10 minutes. So, you know, tell us how that happens. Oh, well, I just accidentally opened it while,
My
my phone
finger was
went off.
going
And then,
crazy, Dad.
yeah, exactly.
I had finger
Um,
Tourette's. It was like,
yeah. So, and we limited them. So we decided we had to limit them, which is another great thing. Um, I can't remember what it was called though with Android. It wasn't called screen time. It was called something else. Mindfulness. It was
no.
called.
Okay.
So different companies have different name for
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
But
yeah.
if you Google the type of phone that you have and stuff and look for screen time, then it might be able to tell you and direct you.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good topic. I'm kind of at the moment in the boat of like, we're probably going to be getting a cell phone. It's going to be locked down to just being a pretty much what the kids have now in a game in the gaming phone, which is just a cell phone, and except now they will be able to call the contact list and text the contact list even away from Wi-Fi, and we'll leave the games on there that are on there. But other than that, that'll be it.
Yeah.
So we even
It's
locked down Safari. They can't even really do anything on Safari except for whatever whitelist websites we give. So
Yeah, I like that, the ability to whitelist stuff.
yeah.
And you can do that for your router as well. If you don't
Mm,
want if if you've got a tech savvy kid that knows what they're doing, that they can then like Google how to remove whitelist and blacklisted websites.
yeah.
You can whitelist and then you have to be a tech savvy parent for this, but you can
Yeah.
whitelist certain IP addresses to be able to access certain things. So,
Mm-hmm. So yeah. But I think that's what we're gonna go with for right now, and we'll see how
yeah.
that goes. So, anything
My
else before we
my
wrap it up?
no, when it comes to the dad topic, as always, I like to do a little bit of a takeaway with
Sure, I
things,
like it.
but just be open and transparent when you're putting restrictions in place. Give them reasons and examples. Just say because restricting a lot and stuff falls into that helicopter parenting reign where you've got to be able to give them a sense of independence, but to a certain degree. And as much as like when I was a kid, it was you're allowed to play out on your bike until the street lights come on, and you're only allowed as far as this as this road, and don't go further than that, and things. And my mum always used to know when I'd gone further than that because she had eyes everywhere. She
Mm-hmm.
was like a hawk, that woman.
Because all those
Um,
granny and moms in the neighborhood, they were always like on the phone. I saw Sean. You told me she wasn't supposed to go past the 300th block, but he's all the way over here, the 500th block. Like, dang it.
exactly. There's snitches everywhere. But no, just have the conversation with them. Be open as to why you're doing this. Explain that the big open world is a scary place, and you're trying to reduce the amount of negativity they're seeing and the impact that they can have on their mental health. You have to use your best judgment as a parent as to how much information you give them and then that you allow them to. And as great and as fantastic modern technology is, it's got a lot of restrictions and parental controls that you can put in place to allow them to have a sense of independence with a level of parental control which stops them from seeing things that are inappropriate from them at the time and can cause lasting effects. So just whatever phone you use, whatever manufacturer and operating service that you use, and that comes to things like consoles and laptops as well, and TVs, because smart TVs are exactly the same nowadays in terms of you can flick through stuff on there that you shouldn't be seeing. Um, just do your homework on the model and the manufacturer that you've got in terms of what you can and can't do as a parent, and just become a bit savvy with it. It's a learning curve. You are going to make mistakes. I made mistakes as a
Me
parent
too.
between me and Lindsay. So it is a learning curve. We aren't perfect, and we only offer the best advice that we can give based on our own experiences. So, but if you do struggle and you do want some information, we're both iPhone users. Reach out, ask us questions about how we do things, and we're happy to always give advice. So,
For sure.
yeah, thank you very much for listening. Um, I apologize for like the few coughs and sniffles that you've heard from my side. Um, but Nick keeps sharing his germs with me
I know.
online. All that face to face that we don't do,
That's right.
unfortunately. But yeah, thanks very much for listening. We hope you have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
See you later, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to Dad Crossing. We're here to remind you that this podcast is made by dads for dads. It's a place where all of us can come together, share a laugh, and tackle the wild ride that is fatherhood. If you want to keep the conversation going or just need a safe space to chat or ask for help, you are always welcome to reach out. You can find me, Sean, at Sean_Abbott, and you can find my good friend Nick at Nick10Do. And of course, give our social media platforms a good look over, because that is where we share all the updates, all the laughs, and all the things dad life. That is, everything is at Dad Crossing. For anything more, feel free to drop us a message at team@dadcrossing.com. And until next time, stay strong, stay connected, and remember, you're never alone on this journey. We'll see you in the next episode of Dad Crossing.